Okay, WrestleMania 32 review. Here we are. The first match was the Intercontinental Championship ladder match. I actually thought this WrestleMania got off to a good start. So, what did you think of the IC ladder match with Zack Ryder winning it?
Well, nobody knows ladder matches like I knows ladder matches. But unfortunately, Shawn Michaels wasn't in the ladder match. But they do. I guess they're doing this every year now that they don't have the money in the bank at every WrestleMania. So when I heard they were going to do this again, I kind of like,
Well, I think everyone wanted Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, but I think that's something you could look forward to down the road, right?
Exactly, but I'm glad they did do it because I got to be honest, I thought this ladder match scramble was much better than last year's ladder match
Daniel
scramble.
Bryan won, right?
Yeah, as much as it's, I love Daniel Bryan, but it just didn't, for me, it didn't make sense for him to win the IC title.
Yeah, it was just depressing to see how you could go from, world champion or undisputed champion to Intercontinental champion.
Right, exactly. Even though Cena was U.S. champion at the time, that made it okay. But I thought this was a better ladder match.
This was a lot more fun.
This was a lot more fun.
I just enjoyed it more for some reason.
And let's just, come on now.
Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens, they brought because they had wrestled in ladder matches in Ring of Honor against the Briscoes, and then they wrestled themselves. So it was just really cool after seeing those matches. They felt like right at home. Like they weren't nervous. It's just everything. Just they even expanded on some of their old spots.
I felt like they were trying to steal the show.
Oh yeah,
and they almost did.
Owens did a frog splash, 270 pounds coming down on Sami Zayn
on the ladder. Yeah,
Sami with the tope through the ladder. I thought that was awesome.
Wow.
Because the Briscoes they actually did a doomsday device through the ladder, so I think that was kind of like a playoff of that spot.
Oh wow!
So that was cool.
Yeah.
Just a lot of crazy stuff between them. Even just the punches, people were going crazy.
Yeah,
and it's funny how that happened in Ring of Honor, but it just seems like everyone knows that they feuded on the Indies or back in the day.
I'm not even sure I remember who else. I know Zack Ryder was in the match because he won the match.
Yeah,
I know that was
Stardust. Sin Cara took a crazy bump off the ladder.
Oh yeah,
to Stardust, and that broke the ladder in half.
Right. Everybody looked like $1 million, and then
the Miz.
It was
the Miz is about to win. I thought the Miz was going to win actually.
Right. Well, he won the next night. He won on Raw. He won the IC title.
Oh, he did
the next night.
He beat Zack Ryder the next night.
Yeah,
I missed that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, but at the same time, it was cool to see Zack Ryder
have his
win,
moment,
have a moment like that. It was a bit of a surprise. I don't think people expected. He was probably the last.
Yeah,
one
I didn't even know he was
in
the match until like Friday. So I was really shocked, and it's crazy because 5 years ago, The Rock was at Survivor Series, and he was just thanking the fans, and no one gave a shit. Everyone was just like, "We want Ryder." And he's like, "Oh, Ryder, that tall son of a bitch, right?" and I swear to God, at that show, he was the most over guy, and that was 5 years ago, and he wasn't on that WrestleMania.
Right.
And 5 years later, I didn't even know he was still on the roster, and then he wins the ladder match. So it's just crazy how if you just be patient, good things do happen.
Sure, absolutely.
So,
Yeah,
but
cool to see.
I was kind of disappointed, actually. I was hoping Sami Zayn would have taken this after having that great match with Nakamura.
It would have been cool. It would have been a cool turnaround for him to lose a big match like that in NXT and then come over to the main roster and win the IC title. At the same time, guys,
he's in the main event scene right now, Sami Zayn.
Yeah, the IC title doesn't mean what it used to mean. It's better. It's better now that there's only one main WWE title.
Right.
But it still doesn't mean what it meant when Brett and Shawn had it in the 90s and when Mr. Perfect had it. It still doesn't mean that much anymore, so I wouldn't see it as too big of a deal.
It seems like the IC title is going more towards guys that are trying to become great wrestlers, and the great wrestlers are kind of automatically in that WWE title scene right now.
Right, trying to get into the title scene, which makes a lot of sense.
Which I like it, right? I think the competitiveness with the title scene is great right now.
Yeah.
But
hope they don't screw it up.
We'll see. All right, next up we had, in my opinion, I think this was the match of the night, Chris Jericho, AJ Styles. Their fourth match, and I thought this was their best match. I thought they finally clicked. They actually got about 17 minutes. So what did you think of it?
I thought it was a damn good match. It was a damn good match, just like Jericho always puts on a damn good performance. AJ looked like $1 million. Jericho looked like $1 million. And it was, for me, I was really happy to actually see Jericho win, even though
it was unpredictable, surprising. I mean, you would think Jericho's done the favor so many times back to Shawn Michaels and Christian that you would just expect Fandango, and you would expect him to do it again. But,
right, but he needed this.
He
needed to get one over on AJ to have some legitimacy, so he could be more of a threat when he comes out on Raw, as opposed to just jobbing for everyone.
Yeah.
You know, so I think in the next night, AJ won the #1 contendership. So I think that it makes perfect sense.
It didn't hurt AJ at all. I think it creates great competitiveness. You know, when you win here, the guy wins the next night. It's just...
Yeah. I think, you know what, and even though it seemed kind of dumbed down, they told a really great story throughout their feud, in that Jericho couldn't get one up on AJ, and then when it really mattered,
Jericho gets the job done.
Jericho gets the job done. It really, I actually think people were skeptical at first because, well, we've seen him wrestle already, but if you think about old school feuds, that's kind of how they do it. You know, guys would have match after match after match, and then it would culminate into like a much bigger match.
Yeah, I actually watched the match about 3 times, and it really, the replay value isn't quite there. I enjoyed it like when we first saw it. I was really excited. But I mean, they did a lot of great things here. It seemed like Jericho was kind of going for like AJ's moves. Like he went for the calf crusher, and then he went for the what did he go for? The Styles Clash.
Oh, he went for
he went for both of them, and it is kind of like Styles kind of countered it into doing some of Jericho's moves, like the springboard drop kick.
Yeah, but he turned it into a springboard Pele.
Yeah. I mean,
which didn't connect altogether. It didn't connect 100%, but it was pretty cool. I think AJ's the type of wrestler, he doesn't know how to make something like simple. You know, like he everything he does is so like, oh my God, like what a move, and he makes it look easy. Yeah. That was an example. So he probably should have just kept it simple on that one, but it still looked cool that he basically did a springboard Pele.
Yeah. I mean, I a lot of the false finishes I really bought, because you never know. You thought maybe AJ's going to get squashed when he hit the first code breaker. You know, Jericho actually kicked out of the Styles Clash.
Right.
And,
all right. Yeah.
And then Jericho kicked out of the springboard 450. That was an awesome spot. And then I don't know the ending. Did you like the ending with the code breaker?
The code breaker when he tried to do the elbow off the top.
Yeah.
The forearm rather. I think it was satisfying. And when Jericho did it, I went, oh shit, Jericho's gonna win. Like when he did it, it just felt right.
Yeah.
It didn't feel rushed. It didn't feel like AJ should have kicked out. And I felt like, well, finally, you know, Jericho gets to beat somebody with the code breaker. So it gives some more legitimacy back to the code breaker, you know, which he needs.
But I mean, would you agree this was the match of the night? I would say it's the match of the night technically, but it didn't steal the show. Does that make sense?
I guess that makes sense. You know what? To be honest with you, and we'll talk about this more as we go on, but I don't think anything stole the show.
No, I don't think so.
In my opinion.
I mean, I like the match, but it didn't blow me away. I still think Jericho and AJ could do a lot more and better, actually.
Yeah.
But this is fine. I thought it was their best match so far, without a doubt.
Sure.
So next up, we had the League of Nations and the New Day. 3-on-3, right? I thought this was entertaining, fun. Sheamus got the win with the road kick.
Solid match, and you know, and to be honest with you, dude, New Day took a lot of punishment in this match.
Big E, right?
Big E, I was scared because I thought he landed like on his head, like, you know, like vertically. I was really, he did that spot where he basically shoulder blocks both Rusev and, correct me if I'm wrong, I think it was either Rusev and Del Rio onto the outside through the ropes, and he actually landed on his head. I was scared to death. I thought he was, you know, like paralyzed, but he was fine. And Kofi took this spot from Del Rio, very punishing spot where Del Rio did the stomp on his chest, and he landed onto the outside on his back, almost on his neck, and I was like, oh my God, these guys are taking some real New Day took some punishment.
I mean, while it lasted, they really went all out. They didn't get a lot of time, but they made the best of it.
They did, and so
who was the odd man out for the League of Nations? Was it Rusev or was it Barrett?
Barrett didn't wrestle.
Okay.
Barrett was on the outside.
And they actually kicked him out of the group the next night.
They did.
Okay.
Yeah, that's right.
Cool. I don't think he's wrestling anymore. I think that's why.
Oh, I see. I think he's retired.
So then HBK, your all-time favorite, comes out with Foley and Austin, and they kind of, it was just a nice showcase for all three of them.
It was
three of the biggest stars from the Attitude Era.
It was fun to see. Let's not forget the cereal box at the.
The Mondo.
Bootios.
The Mondo cereals.
Yeah. And Rusev kicking the big Cheerio as he walks down the aisle. That's pretty fun.
Cereal, man. We all love the taste, right?
Oh, absolutely.
And then, all right, so next up we have Dean Ambrose and Brock Lesnar, the no holds barred. A lot of people were disappointed by this, right?
Yeah, I mean, I know your friend texted you that he was disappointed. My friend felt similarly, like Dean Ambrose, didn't put up enough of a fight.
Yeah.
My opinion on it is...
It wasn't that he didn't put up enough of a fight. It's just that there was never a sense where Ambrose had, like, the match in question. I mean, it was never in question whether Brock was going to get defeated. He didn't even come close, Ambrose. There wasn't that one spot where we thought, oh, maybe he has a chance.
He did the dirty deeds on the chair.
That was cool, yeah. He countered the F5 to the dirty deeds, yeah.
Right. I mean, I thought, honestly, they told a really good story in a short amount of time.
And it was realistic, too.
It was really. It wouldn't have made sense if Dean Ambrose, took Brock down. And there's such a long show with a lot of hardcore type matches. I felt like it was a train wreck. The match was a train wreck, and it was exactly what they booked it for.
It was a little bit one-sided though. Like any time Ambrose took out a foreign object, like the chainsaw, before Ambrose could even see before you could even see what he was going to do with the Lesnar belly to belly him on the outside.
Yeah, and maybe that's pretty awesome that he bellied him after he tried to hit him with a chainsaw. But I think that's the point, is that they kind of, that's the one way that people might not like this match, is because they booked it like, oh, we're going to see barbed wire bat and we're going to see these weapons, and then he didn't even really use them. He just took them out and teased them, you know. So if people felt like they were teased and they were going to get like a legit, like hardcore, brutal match, it wasn't that.
Yeah.
It was just, it was a Brock Lesnar type Smash Mouth match, and it was a solid performance. And Dean Ambrose took a lot of punishment. Brock Lesnar, I think he load blowed him for real, because Brock looked like he was in pain.
Yeah.
So these guys as all Brock Lesnar now, they beat the crap out of each other, and I couldn't ask them for any more.
I mean, I was okay with that. I'm happy he faced Ambrose over Wyatt, but I wasn't thrilled with Ambrose getting the shot at Lesnar. I mean, the roster was very thin because of the injuries. I was just okay with it. Yeah, I'm a big Ambrose fan, but he's very lucky to be in the position he's in, because there's been other guys on the indies that are probably far superior workers to him and never really got the shot. But no, he's a great personality. Obviously, he's like a Brian Pillman type. He's not really known for his wrestling.
He's unique. He's unique, and I think he's getting better. I think
he is too. Yeah, he proved a lot of people wrong.
Right. Seth Rollins was the best wrestler of all the guys in
from the Shield. Yeah,
and we always knew that. But he's not there right now, like you said. So I mean, you got Dean Ambrose. He's a solid performer. Yeah.
I have to say, out of all of Brock's big money pay-per-view matches, this just kind of felt like filler. I hate to say it.
But you know what, though? How long would they get? Like a little over 12 minutes?
I thought the feud could have been personal too, and a little bit more personal. You know what I mean?
Sure.
And I don't know. I just feel like it's getting to the point where Brock has to do more. Eventually, he's going to have to put somebody over.
Right.
It's got to get to that point eventually, because I don't know. I think he's getting a little stale. I really do.
Yeah.
And I like to see him interact with guys more. I'm sick of seeing Paul Heyman do everything for him.
Yeah.
Especially you bring him into Raw and he just stands there like a gorilla.
It would be cool if he did get on the mic a little bit more.
Because he could do it. You could get under his skin, because he gets legitimately pissed. Like when Cena was spitting at him, you could tell he was really pissed off back in 2003.
Wow.
But I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. It just...
Well, we will see. I think that it'll probably end up being Roman, because he never put Roman over. You know that.
Yeah, they work well together, but I don't know. I'm not really interested in seeing that quite yet. But we'll see. All right, so from there we have the women's match. Becky Lynch, Sasha Banks going up against the champion. Charlotte, yeah. Yeah, I mean, awesome match. So, can I just say this before we talk about the match? I thought it was really cool because Snoop came out. Snoop and Sasha Banks are cousins, and Snoop talked about in his Hall of Fame speech how, when Sasha was a teenager at WrestleMania 24, he brought her along, and her eyes lit up, and she was really, just excited to be there. So that kind of opened the door for her to get into the WWE, and then. Charlotte, when she came down, she was wearing Flair's robe from that same WrestleMania. So I just kind of think it's cool how at WrestleMania 24, the seeds were kind of planted for this moment for Charlotte and Sasha Banks.
Wow.
I just think that's really cool.
That is really, I did not know
and,
that.
I'm happy that Snoop got into the Hall of Fame. He, a lot of people look at him as like a pop artist now, but I think we all know, back 20 years ago, Snoop was one of the best rappers in the world, and the other two are dead right now. So I'm really happy that he got his moment 20 years later. So that's cool. Yeah, but I don't know. I thought this was the best women's match to ever take place at WrestleMania. Arguably the match of the night. Some people have it as the match of the night.
Yeah, I don't know if it was the match of the night for me, but it was definitely a fun match, and all three women looked like $1 million.
Yeah,
they all looked great. They all took a lot of
great high spots. Yeah,
took a lot of punishment. These girls are getting their asses beat.
I think Sasha Banks is going to revolutionize the women's division. I think she's that good.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah, Becky Lynch looked great too. She busted out a lot of nice moves, and Charlotte hit that beautiful moonsault Shawn Michaels at WrestleMania 20 in the triple threat. It's kind of similar to that. I think that what hurt the match is Flair and maybe a little bit too much breakups that took away from the quality of the wrestling. But yeah, I thought this was awesome for a women's match. Definitely the best women's match of WrestleMania, but by far even better than the WrestleMania 19 triple threat.
Sure.
So
I'm gonna have to give it another try. I'm gonna have to watch it again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So from there, I think we had Shane McMahon and Undertaker, Hell in a Cell. Yeah,
now for this one, this is exactly what I expected it to be. It wasn't bad, it wasn't great, it was what it was. That the elbow drop off the cell is what we kind of, came to see, and he did it, and he has balls, and he was so high. He's amazing. He's that guy's got balls, Shane McMahon. As far as the overall match, solid match. It wasn't anything that I was going crazy over, but I kind of knew what was going to happen. Midway through the match, I kind of looked at you and I kind of felt like, I don't know if we said this, but there's no way Shane's going to win this. It just wouldn't feel right,
Especially the Undertaker.
Yeah, especially the Undertaker.
It's kind of like Stallone and Rocky killing himself off, and you can't do another sequel.
Yeah,
it's I kind of got that feeling.
Exactly. There's always money to be made for Undertaker, and people always get into him every year.
I thought it was a little slow though throughout the whole thing. It felt like more of an Undertaker match than a Shane McMahon street fight type of match.
Right.
I think that's what hurt it a little bit.
Sure.
But it definitely like if you edit the spots, this had a lot of great spots. The choke slam on the steps, the Van Terminator from coast to coast.
Yeah, no, those are all great spots. The problem is we had this great women's match. You have Brock Lesnar and Dean Ambrose in their hardcore match. And now we're seeing a Hell in a Cell match with I remember the spot where he gives him a spine buster on the steps, or your choke slam on the steps, and I'm just like, okay, I'm like, the crowd, I could tell this is a way of kind of keeping the crowd in it, but it's honestly, this is tough booking, guys. This is
very tough. I was okay with it. It was very random when they announced this match.
Yeah.
But I was cool with it because we haven't seen Shane in a while, and it's the Undertaker. It's Vince's greatest creation against his own creation. Yeah. So I thought it did make a little bit of sense.
That spot. No, I actually thought the feud they wrote it really, really well.
Especially the Go Home show. Yeah.
Yeah.
You were sold on it. Yeah.
Yeah, I was sold on that. I will say I think that elbow drop off the top is going to be one of the greatest WrestleMania moments that people.
It's incredible, and the funny thing is, Shane's taken that bump before. No one talks about the Backlash match with Big Show. I mean, he jumped off the Titantron. It was pretty much the same distance, but this just. I don't know. This was just ballsy, man. This was like I mean, he looked legitimately scared when he was going to do it.
I think he had a little bit more protection in that Backlash match.
Definitely, and you had Tess there, kind of spotting him as he was coming down. Right. I don't know if you remember that, but
not that I would be that comfortable with Tess spotting me. I mean, God rest his soul, but
yeah. I mean, Shane's taken so many bumps, but this was because of the height of that cell. It's just like, holy fuck, are you kidding me? I mean, that was high. I mean, no one's ever. If Foley was thrown off that cell by Undertaker, he would have died. That's how high this cell is. The older cell wasn't that high.
Yeah, I don't think you should ever throw someone off that high. I think it has to. You have to have control. Yeah. And he knew
he took a great bump. He knew exactly how far he had to go, and he protected himself quite well. I think he's okay. I haven't heard anything. But I mean, Undertaker gets the generic win with the tombstone. I just feel like people are kind of. Since the streak has been broken, I think the Undertaker's stale. I can't wait for him to retire. To be honest with you, I just feel like this: when Taker retires, it'll open the door up for so many guys to have that spot. I mean, the match took up 45 minutes with the entrances, you know, and then The Rock goes out and him and Cena take up another half hour.
No one's ever going to have this type of legacy ever again. But like you said, that spot and all that time at WrestleMania, I think is important for. A Bray Wyatt, a Dean Ambrose, a Claudio, whoever comes down the line to
Cesaro, Cesaro, Sami Zayn, Nakamura down the road. I mean that could be amazing. But I mean Rock and Cena coming back together, take on the Wyatts in that little match. I thought it was cool. I just think the segment went on way too long. Right. I really just couldn't get into it at the beginning. But it was cool to see The Rock come back. All right, let's just jump to the. Battle Royal. Shaq came out. We actually missed it, but Baron Corbin from NXT surprisingly won this match. I thought that this was kind of just a bathroom break or kind of filler just to get you a little bit ready for the main event because they had a tough act to follow in Shane McMahon and Undertaker.
I told my friend Mikey T, a while back, I said, so they're going to do this Battle Royal thing every year now, and he's like, yeah, isn't that great? I'm like, not really. It's not gonna be special after the second year, and for me, it's just not special anymore, guys. It was special the first year.
Barely even watched it. I don't even know if it's worth talking about. I saw the end of it. I thought it was. It was what it was. I think the show was just getting too long at that point. The show ended up being 5 hours long. It was too fucking long.
It's a way of getting everybody on the show.
Yeah.
Sorry. I'm sure people out there like it, but I mean, man, to me.
So let's jump to the main event: Triple H versus Roman Reigns. A lot of people hated this match. This went way too long. I mean, after that show, for them to get a half hour, I think was a bit much. But this is the 7th time Triple H's main event at WrestleMania, which puts him only one behind Hogan. Hogan has 8, Triple H has 7, Rock has 5, Michaels has 5, Cena has 5, and I think Austin has 3. So Triple H main events another WrestleMania. I didn't want Triple H to main event this WrestleMania because of his track record. I think he's had too many bad WrestleMania main events. So I kind of knew this wasn't going to be that great. So, I mean, was it that bad?
Well, I watched it. I didn't watch it that night. I watched it later on. I have to be honest. I couldn't hear the crowd out of my computer speakers all that well. But when I did hear it, I could hear some of the more the diehard pro wrestling fans doing the "Ole Ole" chant and chanting. I think they were trying to sing some song during the match. So not all of the fans were really into it. But let me say this, okay. I don't think Triple H and Roman Reigns could have done a better job.
I agree. I thought the match was fine.
What are they supposed to do? They did the best they could with what they were in the toughest spot that any two pro wrestlers could be.
It just I thought they did a good job, but I would say this: it wasn't the best option when you look down the whole roster. I mean, at WrestleMania, you got to put your 2 best guys in that main event that people want to see. And I thought Lesnar Roman Reigns destroys this match from last WrestleMania.
Yeah,
I think you would agree with that. The pros and cons, though. I love Triple H's entrance. I thought Stephanie looked great as I don't know, what was she trying to be, evil Lynn type sorcerer? She looked good. The Triple H's entrance was cool. I thought the spots were creative, though. The spear through the barricade was awesome. The Triple H actually did a neck breaker to Roman Reigns.
Swinging neck breaker off the table.
That
was awesome.
So Roman was selling his arm, and Triple H put him in a couple of arm locks I don't know what you want to call it, arm bars. So he really went to work on the arm, but just nobody just gave a fuck.
Tearing a shoulder.
The match went way too long. There was a couple of dead spots. I thought towards the end they got creative though. Stephanie they went back to the WrestleMania 18 thing, the safe bet with Stephanie taking the big bump. Right. What do you think of that bump?
I thought it was great, but I had the same exact feeling like, oh, this WrestleMania 18, like, you know, and in that one, Triple H actually pedigreed
Steph, yeah. Well, if you watch it back, Triple H moves out of the way for Stephanie to take the hit.
Right.
So this might plant the seeds to them splitting up, which I would love to see Stephanie, you know, cheat on Triple H with, you know, a Seth Rollins or something like that down the road. I think, you know, things need to get. This was not an interesting main event. I think things really need to get interesting.
They probably don't want to do that to their kids because their kids probably watch the show, so they're not going to.
But what's more important though, doing the right thing for your kids or putting on the best product as possible?
To Vince McMahon, putting on the best product is
maybe if WCW was still involved.
I want you to commit adultery for the best of that's what's best for business. You know, honestly, if I hadn't seen Stephanie and Triple H involved in past main events like WrestleMania 18 and WrestleMania 30,
this would have been cool, right?
I would have been like, "Whoa, this is awesome!" But because I had seen it before, it wasn't that exciting for me.
Yeah.
At the same time, look, the roster was depleted. You know, there are a lot of guys.
Yeah, I mean, who are you going to put in that spot besides Roman Reigns? I mean, there really wasn't. Who was the choice? AJ's too new. Jericho's too old at this point.
Yeah.
I mean,
Cena was out.
Cena's out. Yeah.
I think that's if they had done, you know, Cena and Roman, that would have been
Ambrose and Roman with Roman turning heel. That might have been the way to go. I don't know.
The way that they're building these manias now, and they're trying to get so many people to subscribe to the network. I mean, let's look at it like, I mean, we're so critical. They broke the freaking attendance record. They shattered.
And that's an interesting point too. I mean, who do you credit to for that attendance? I mean, Hogan and Andre take all the credit for WrestleMania 3. So do you give all the credit to Roman and Triple H for this?
They're
WrestleMania?
going to. You know,
I don't think they will. I think, like I said, at this point, WrestleMania sells itself. You could have done Triple H versus Triple H, and I think we're still going to do the same number.
Right.
So.
Well, I think everybody in the world of science would have been freaking, you know, like shocked to see that. It was like, whoa. No.
But let's talk about Roman Reigns really quickly. He's the guy. You know, I mean, what are your final thoughts on him? You know, it is what it is. I'm not a huge fan of him, but he's the champion.
I think that's how a lot of people feel. Like he is, you know, I'm not going to say he's the guy. But he is damn good. He looks great. He's athletic. He moves well.
He's the best choice to carry the championship for house shows to attract the non-wrestling fans.
The non-wrestling fans. If that's the case, then they know.
But you know, Vince has always, you know, it's not a surprise. Vince has always been, you know, doing this. You know, it was Hulk Hogan, then it was Lex Luger. But here's the question to you: if they gave up on Lex Luger, why are they not giving up on Roman Reigns? That's an interesting question. I think.
Because it's a different time. I think that they feel as though
they gave up on Sheamus.
Their audience is so different now. Now that everyone's so split. They have adult fans, kid fans, nostalgia fans,
trying to cater to everybody.
Indie fans,
and it's
trying
working.
to cater to different people. It is working. It's working. Yeah, it really is. The system is working. It's not.
Even though Shane McMahon would admit that the company went down the drain before WrestleMania.
Yeah, I just think that they're trying to attract so many different eyeballs from so many different directions.
We said the same thing last year too.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's just the way it is.
So Roman Reigns main events 2 WrestleManias in a row. Did he deserve it? By default.
Look, guys, Daniel Bryan was my guy. I would have picked Daniel Bryan to be the next guy. But he got injured. He went out. I don't think anybody deserved it more than Daniel Bryan.
Okay.
But
all right.
But he went out and he can't wrestle anymore, and I'm glad for him. I love that guy. But Roman is they can rely on him. They respect him. He's like
he's not a bad worker. I mean, if you put him in the ring with Brock or AJ, I'm sure it's going to be great matches.
He gets his ass beat and he takes punishment, and I respect Roman And saying this, not the amount of respect.
He's not like Scott Steiner, Goldberg.
He's like Cena. He's like Cena. He's a guy they rely on to be in those situations, and I respect Cena for being able to do that. It's just as I get older, I'm not sure if I'm always going to be able to digest whoever they want to push in that spot, So it might remove me from being interested in the business.
Well, we'll see. He's got a lot of great opponents that he could work with, but I just hope he doesn't get a year-long title reign because there's too many guys that are more talented.
At the same time, there's a lot of potential if they did turn him heel against Sami Zayn and AJ and then guys like.
But that's the problem. I don't think they're doing that. I think they're just going to force the babyface crap down our throats until. Who knows? He might not ever turn heel.
Let's see. It would be cool to see if they allow him to play heel against the smart mark picks. Your AJ, your Nakamura, all your guys that are coming up. Like if Samoa Joe and Roman Reigns have a match, that'd be pretty cool. Yeah. Like if they do some like NXT versus Roman Reigns, that could be a lot of fun.
Well, I think they would do it in a way where Roman could still keep his fan base, but I'm not sure if that would happen.
Right, exactly, because that's kind of what Cena did with ECW.
Yeah, no, that was cool. That's exactly.
I think that's the way to go.
All right, so let's wrap it up. WrestleMania 32. Did you enjoy the show, or did you just kind of give it a?
It was a solid Mania. I don't think anything was bad.
Wasn't the best Mania ever. Wasn't one of the best. Wasn't one of the worst.
No, right? there was no match that I thought was a great match. There was no match that I thought was bad. I thought that every match was solid or above solid.
Yeah, and you would agree Nakamura and Sami Zayn kind of blew away any other match from this show, right?
Oh my God, that match was amazing. That match was incredible. Yeah.
Cool. About WrestleMania 31 or 32, which would you take? I would take 31 actually.
I think I'm gonna go with 31. Yeah, off the top of my all around.
Just barely. I'll go with 31.
Just barely.
Better main event. All right, guys. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you.